I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this is another Higher Things video short. The Passiontide. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. It's the fifth Sunday in Lent, and that brings Judica Sunday. And so, also, the Passiontide. Judica Sunday was also known as Black Sunday in German, or the Sunday of the Passion. That was moved to next week in the 3-year series. But for us, Passiontide is something that we should think about. Passiontide begins the fourth quarter, the last 2 minutes of, if you're sort of thinking basketball, of Lent. And time in which Christians take their eyes off themselves and they fix them on the suffering and death of our Lord Jesus Christ. It's all about Jesus. Passiontide is not all about you. It's about Jesus for you. And so in the Passiontide, you put off those things which have been, which may have crept back into your life, even though Lent has been going on. And you take your eyes off yourself and your Lenten devotion, and you fix them squarely on Jesus, who, on Judica Sunday, has to hide himself. Remember, we hid from God. After the fall, we hid from God. We heard your voice, and we knew that we were naked, so I hid myself, says Adam. Now, in John 8, we hear that Jesus exchanges words with the Pharisees. He has a discussion with them, and it ends with them calling him a demon and saying that he's a Samaritan. You're not even a Jew, they say. And then they picked up their stones to stone him because he confessed to them, before Abraham was, I am. You see, he says that he is the God of the Old Testament. I am. Before Abraham was, I am. So anytime anyone tells you that the God of the Old Testament is different than the God of the New Testament, which happens to be the Marcion heresy, but anyone who tells you that, say, no, the God of the Old Testament is Jesus. That's who he says is the God of the Old Testament, and he's the one who suffered and died for us. And so here in Passiontide, on Judica Sunday, we see him confess that he is God, and then we reject him. And the amazing thing happens that God goes into his temple and hides from men. God hides from men in order to save men. You see, Jesus isn't afraid of death. Death is coming to him on Good Friday. It's not coming on Judica Sunday, too early. And so he goes into his temple and he hides and he slips away from death's grasp. At Gethsemane, on Maundy Thursday, he will not hide from death. There he will meet death head on. Whom do you seek? Jesus of Nazareth. I am. And they will fall down again. He will confess who he is again, that he is the I am, and they will fall on their knees. And so will we. But we will still pick up ourselves and seize him, and mock him and beat him, and drive nails into his hands and his feet and crucify him. Because that's what we'll do to God. And then, after 3 days, I am will rise again from the dead and give us life in the water and in the word and in his body and blood. Passiontide, with the covered crosses, hiding God, is a time in which we fix our eyes all the more intensely on the suffering and death of our Lord Jesus Christ. Like you do at LSU, we used to hold up 4 fingers in the fourth quarter. There it is, 4 fingers. And we would say, it's the fourth quarter. Now it's all like Donkey Kong. We're going to win this game. We're going to get intense about it. It's on. In the same way, Lent begins with the fourth quarter, Passiontide. Passiontide begins Lent's fourth quarter. And our eyes are fixed on Jesus, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Eyes on Jesus, more him, less you. That's Passiontide. And eyes, and if you want to hear about Holy Week, well, watch last year's video. It's right there. We'll put the link right there or in the description. It's all about Jesus this week and next week. His suffering and death for you. Passiontide. I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.